Welcome to the PH Journals podcast, where we explore hunting, wildlife management, and conservation. As hunters and conservationists, we know that hunting can be a powerful tool for wildlife conservation, generating revenue and promoting healthy ecosystems. Join us as we explore the latest research, interviewing experts and practitioners, and sharing stories from the field. Whether you're a hunter or conservationist, or simply interested in learning more about this somewhat controversial topic. Hi, my name is Dylan Love. I'm a professional hunter out of the southern tip of the Dark Continent. Join us as I believe hunting is our best conservation tool we have to offer. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the PH Journals podcast. I've been a little bit absent over the past couple of weeks. It's been hectic this side, just getting the whole safari game up and running just before the season starts, as well as shooting my latest episode, which will be coming out on my YouTube channel pretty soon, which I'm really pumped up about that. Just really ticking all the boxes off to make sure that this is going to be one of the most successful seasons that I have had. So other than that, just a big shout out firstly to Scullies. These guys have innovated a way to captivate your trophy mounts and your trophy skulls in a way that has never been done before. And they don't only target the hunting industry, this is for across all boards. And if you want to get involved in conservation, hit up the Scullies team or see the link in my description, and we will most definitely get you in the most preferred skull that you really enjoy, made from purely 100% biodegradable materials and 3D printed from original skulls. These are incredible figurines to have as part of your collection. As well as a very big shout out to Splitting Image Taxidermy. Guys, I've been working with Splitting Image for some time now. They are by far the most trustworthy and professional guys in the southern tip of Africa, as well as across the world. They're just full of knowledge. The teams of Doug and Warwick, they've absolutely outdone themselves in this, delivering unbelievable service across the board. And I love working with these guys. They are just so like-minded. They've got conservation at the helm, and no idea is too much of a stretch. They will always accommodate you wherever they see possible, and they go further, way over and beyond their call of duty, which is incredible. It's great to be a part of the team, and I'm really looking forward to the future with them. Well, guys, to kick this podcast off with a very positive note, on one of my WhatsApp illegal hunting groups, a massive win for conservation, and it reads as follows. 3 rhino poachers arrested during an intelligence-driven operation in Queenstown and Umtata during the past 10 hours of today. 2 of our suspects is part of the group which escaped from the Grahamstown prison in 2022, and they are linked to several cases in the Eastern Cape and Mossel Bay area regarding rhino poaching. Guys, whether you're a hunter or non-hunter, this is a massive win for species that we are fighting so hard to protect, and it's an outstanding effort. I wish I had the name of these guys that have driven this operation, because I would love to have them on the podcast. They've done incredible work. I really am proud to see this. I live in Queenstown. I haven't seen any marked vehicles or anything like that, so they've done a pure behind the scenes sneaky way going forward and done their best, obviously their best way of catching these guys in the act. And unbelievable. It really is. It's motivating, it's inspiring, and these guys have gone way out of their call of duty to do this, to pull this off, and it's incredible. So massive win for conservation this week. Well, guys, like I said, it's been a busy couple of weeks. Just once again, just trying to get camps ready and for clients that will be coming in, and hopefully, do a lot more of the YouTube side of things for myself. Some developments have happened over the past couple of weeks. Unfortunately, I can't share too much with you guys, but a very exciting venture coming along pretty nicely. We're getting to the closing points of it, so once it's closed, done and dusted, I'll be able to reveal what has been on the boiler for some time now. Very exciting news. And then, so just going back, to the whole idea of the podcast was to answer questions. And this gentleman sent me this question a couple of weeks ago. He'll be coming in safari in July, apparently. The message reads as follows. Hi, Dylan. Mark here. I won't give the full name, just for security reasons. Me and my son will be embarking on our very first safari adventure in the middle of July. This will be our first adventure to South Africa, but we are seasoned hunters. Do you have any tips and tricks for our very first safari? My son will be taking a cull package, as I will be shooting a couple of trophies myself. We are really looking forward to share this beautiful adventure with the rest of the world and to enjoy your country that you speak so highly of. Keep up the good work. I love the podcast, love the YouTube channel, and love your social media content. Regards, Mike. So guys, that's a brilliant question, and obviously gets asked quite a bit. I think I've done a few podcasts on this. However, things do change, seasons change, and perspectives change. And as well, and like I say, always, me as a professional hunter, been in this industry now for 14 years, it is one of those things where you never stop learning. And I never want to stop learning. I enjoy learning. I enjoy learning about what I'm so passionate about. This has been an outstanding adventure. So if I get to share a little bit of my experience and what I believe is some of my best tips and tricks for your next safari adventure, and it helps you in any way possible, well, then my job is done. Because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to protect the hunter, do conservation, and feed my family. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I've categorized this in two different categories. I've kind of categorized it as in the field time and lodge tips. So in the field time consists of this: range time. Guys, spend time at the range. What I've picked up, especially in the Northern Hemisphere hunting societies or fraternities, is that the range, the shot placements, the ranges that you guys shoot are a lot less. They're between about 50 to 150 yards, which for us is kind of where we, like, our ideal range that we would like to get in. But judging on species, it's not always the best way to hunt certain species, especially like your springback, fall reback, those sort of things. They're going to give you long range shots. So spend a bit of time out in the bush. Spend a bit of time out hitting those gongs out at distances from 200 to 250, maybe even 300 plus. As a professional hunter, it's not ideal, and we would like to get you guys in as close as possible, but it's not always possible. That's the idea. So we want to try and put you in the best possible opportunity you guys can get at harvesting or taking that animal. So spend some time at the range. As far as bow hunting is concerned, guys, you can never fling too many arrows at a butt. I felt like the golden distance here in South Africa is probably that 40 to 60 yard range. If you're shooting anything from 50 pounds up, that's pretty much your golden hour range. And this is out of the blind. In the blind, you're normally shooting between 20 to 30 yards, which is ideal. But yeah, so keep throwing arrows at the butt, and just make sure that you guys are on point and that you're hitting those dials within 2-3 inch diameter. So yeah, range time is incredibly important. To add to range time is that make sure that your scope setup is ideal, that you understand your scope, the magnification, the turrets, and all that sort of stuff if you have got that. Likewise with the bow. And then most importantly, a lot of guys don't do this, but shoot off sticks. Go into your local gun store, buy a set of shooting sticks, shoot off them many times, get comfortable, get the feel. Even have a partner of yours come out and try and place them up as quickly as possible, because it's a high intensity situation. Fling those sticks out as quickly as possible, put your shoulder in and try and settle down as quickly, do your figure 8s if you need to be. So that's very, very key. But understand that those sticks that you shoot off aren't going to be exactly the same that you get here in South Africa. various pHs. They've changed their sticks over many, many years. For me, I use 4 dead olds. They're incredible sticks. They support the butt as well as the stock at the front. And they just give you a little bit more stabilization. However, there are some pHs that use a tri-stick or the Gymshockey push-button stick. So whichever one you guys are shooting off, if you can't bring it out, just make sure that you get something similar in South Africa, or communicate this with your professional hunter. Say, guys, this is the sticks I'm shooting off. Is it possible to arrange a set of these sticks back home, or does your professional hunter have that? In saying that, your professional hunter needs to know who you are, where you're from, what you do beforehand. And this is incredibly important, guys. And this is a side of the hunting industry that I think has been forgotten. There's a good friend of mine, old Bossy. We actually laugh about it quite a bit. Is that we prefer, especially myself and him, we prefer returning clients. It's just because the small talks kind of got out of our hands right now, and life's been a bit hectic on both our sides. I mean, Bossy, he's going to have a little one soon. I've gone through my own life challenges. So we often say to it, you know, our small talk has kind of become too intense for the people that don't know. So yeah, we often have a good laugh about it. But why I say this is important is get to know your pH, because you guys are going to be spending a couple of days together. And it's highly important to understand that, you know, in such close proximities, under high pressure situations, 24/7, dealing with one another, making sure that your comfort's at the best and at heart, making sure that what you want is, you know, understanding how you want to do things, how you want to hunt, how you prefer to hunt, is incredibly important, especially for the professional hunter. I hate guys coming into camp without any sort of preparation. It just makes life a whole lot difficult. Although it's not impossible to have a successful safari from that. I just think now with social media, it's so much easier to get in contact, build a relationship. So once you're over there, you know, things are running smoothly and pretty much what you expected. And this helps. This really, really does help. So get to know your pH. Hit him up on Facebook, social media. I'm sure he wouldn't mind. I don't mind at all. I love having interactions beforehand. And yeah, just to get the feel. So I know what to expect from my client coming over. So that's very, very important, guys. Next up is gear. So July, typically here in the Eastern Cape, it's extremely cold. And yes, it does snow in South Africa. Those of you that thought it didn't. The mountain peaks are pitch white at the moment. It's been freezing cold here. So yeah, bring some warm gear, bring gloves, bring whatever's going to make you comfortable. Remember, guys, this is not a status safari. You're not coming over here to drive a status agenda or anything like this. You're coming over here to have fun, but most importantly, be comfortable doing that. And so get gear that you're going to be comfortable in. It doesn't have to always be the best. If you find a $50 hoodie is going to keep you warm compared to a $300 jacket, well, then do that. It's got nothing to do with, you know, status symbols with a lot of the top brands out there. However, they do make some really, really good gear, and it does benefit you in the bush. For instance, Treason, they've been outstanding in the South African bushveld. So if you can get your hands on some Treason gear, I can hit you up directly with what you actually need and what will actually sustain out here, because they make some incredible gear, warm, comfortable, soft, stretch material. It really, really makes life a whole lot easier, understanding and knowing your gear. So next up is fitness. Guys, I don't mean go out there and run a 21K marathon. No, not at all. I just mean go out there, you know, with your son or your wife, partner, whatever it may be, and just hit a stroll around the block. Start off with a couple of miles, then increase every time. Just get that heart rate up to a certain level. Like I said, guys, there are gonna be situations where you are gonna walk, and yeah, in the Eastern Cape, we've got a lot of mountainous terrain. So we do a lot of walking, and Yeah, so that it's important just to make sure that your heart rate gets to a certain level, so that you understand coming over here. Once they put you on those sticks, your heart rate's not pounding through the roof and making your shot difficult. This is all just to benefit you and make sure that you're going to perform at your best. So once again, I'm not saying go and put on your running shoes and run a couple of miles. No, not at all. But take a quick stroll. Take your dog for a walk, or your child, or whatever. Just make it easy. Make sure that you put a couple of miles in every single day and a couple months beforehand. It just makes, like I said, life a whole bunch easier. If you're hunting up north in Limpopo areas and stuff, just bear in mind the altitude. I know Johannesburg is a lot higher than what it is here in the Eastern Cape. So with the altitude, it does make sometimes uncomfortable heart rate situations. But just like I said, just understand, do a little bit of research, make sure that you're getting into that sort of stuff, and you understand what you're going into. And then last but not least, on your safari tips, you guys need to do animal understanding. And I don't mean go out there and read every article put out there about a springback. No, I just mean understand the shot placement. Understand where your target is. Most importantly, if you are bringing your son out, if you are bringing your daughter out, understanding the shot placement compared to our southern African animals, compared to the northern American animals. Our animals sit a lot further. The gearbox, the heart, the lungs, everything sits a lot further up in the animal, which I've picked up. We used to get a lot of European clients coming out, and their shot placements were so far back that it actually became an issue. And I was a young PH at the time, and that's how I learned. I learned the hard way to understand that animal gearbox sits a lot further forward in the cavity of that specific animal. So it's important to understand these things, and it's important to do a little bit of research. I mean, if you can go on, there's an app at the moment. It's called Hunters. I think if it's about $1, maybe $2. No, way more. It's 99 Rand. So what's that? Worst case scenario, $5. It gives you everything. Black wildebeest, blessed buck, blue wildebeest, buffalo. It gives you the shot placement, where you need to aim, what you need to aim, what you need to look for. It gives you dung samples. It gives you footprints, hoof prints, paw prints, and it gives you all the necessary equipment ideas. It's a wonderful app. I really use it a lot. So yeah, that's just basic necessities that you can do in the field to make sure that your range time, that your safari is well geared up for. Look, guys, you're never gonna get into that real life situation that we put you guys in once a year, because it's high intensity, and that's what I mean by that. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of it's harsh stuff. It's important as a professional hunter, when you're dealing with young kids, to try and not elevate the situation a lot more. And what I mean by that is, don't try and pump it up and, getting the guy's head and shoot. You try and be as calm as possible. Really bring everything down. Make sure that, the boy or the girl is as comfortable as possible on the sticks. Even if you've got to buffer up with your forearm underneath their elbow or something like that, just to make sure that they are sturdy as possible. Make sure that at all times your tracker has got eyes on that animal, tracker or the dad following, just so that, if the shot placement isn't quite where it needs to be, you can do a follow-up and you guys can track that animal accordingly. So yeah, guys, that's some of my basic tips and tricks for the in the field experience. These are things that I've experienced over the past couple of years, and I love to share them with the guys. And I hope this helps you guys out there preparing for your very first safari. Those seasoned veterans that come out here to South Africa many times, or Africa, they'll know what I'm talking about. And yeah, hopefully this has given them some sort of idea to prepare for their next safari, or encourage them to prepare for their next safari. Then next up is around the camp, lodge tips. Yeah, and why I added this is because I thought it was quite important, because a lot of people overlook this. Everyone's hunting. But ultimately, it's about the experience. And I've pushed this, through my podcast, through my YouTube channel. It's not just about the hunt. It's about the experience. Come over, have an enjoyable experience. Because if you have a great experience, not only through hunting, you can go back to your family members and you can pitch this idea. And we want you guys to keep coming back. Right now, we're going through some terrible times here in South Africa, and not to deter any of you guys away. But with the load shedding, those of you that know, we've got countrywide blackouts, certain periods of the day. It's just our government is lacking funds, and every tourist contributes some significant amount of money to the rand, and hopefully that builds it up. It's really, really cheap for you guys to come out here now. I think it's almost 20 rand to the dollar now, which is massive for you guys. Like I said, it's about the experience. We'll get into the other stuff later. I didn't mean to throw that negativity stuff in there. It just is what it is. I'm sure you guys can kind of hear the generator in the background. And that's why I don't have the YouTube, my video going on my YouTube, but I'll explain to you guys at the end of this podcast. So yeah, guys, lodge tips, comfort. Don't be shy to talk. If you guys are uncomfortable in your lodge situation, whether it be in your rooms, the food, the hospitality, just talk, guys. Just talk to the owners, talk to the manager, talk to your professional hunter. Let them understand where you guys are coming from. Ultimately, you don't need to bottle this up until the safari is over, because you're going to have an unpleasant time for the rest of your safari trip and go back and not have a pleasant experience. So be comfortable. Be comfortable in communicating with people. And that's why I say building up that relationship with your PH. Let him be the guy that makes sure that you're going to have a great time here. And that let him work, let him go the extra distance to make sure that whatever he can do to make your stay a lot more comfortable. If there's no electric blankets on the beds, make sure they put electric blankets on the beds. If there's no coffee in the rooms, make sure they do that. Go over and beyond that, and make sure that your stay is comfortable, because ultimately you're paying a lot of money to stay here. You're paying a lot of money to come out and hunt and enjoy the experience. And why shouldn't you be hindered in any way? No late nights. I'm gonna get scrutinized in the PH fraternity for this. Guys, I've seen it many times. The conversations at the bar roll. They really happen around the bonfire, around the campfire. The conversation of the day's activity really roll, and it's wonderful, because conversations are beautiful, stories are wonderful to share. Just be careful of having too much to drink or staying up too late, because it does hinder your next day's performance. And based on that, myself, I take that into account on what sort of species we'll hunt the next day. So if I see Jim is having a wonderful time at the bar, we're not going to go buffalo hunting in the morning. We're not going to go fall rhubarb hunting where we're climbing mountains and all that sort of stuff. So just be aware of that. Understand, that's why I say animal understanding is important. Understand that when your PH gets in and says, listen, Jim, we're going fall rhubarb hunting in the morning. Understand your limitations at the bar and where you guys can get. Don't get carried away. I've seen it many times, and I can purely understand this because, like I said, the conversations are awesome. They really are. And I don't want you guys to get stuck in a position where you have your missed opportunities, or you get a subpar animal because, unfortunately, you were a little bit hungover or tired the day of that hunt, So just be wary of it. Once again, I do say this with respect. I do understand that is all part of the experience. And I'm not saying don't go out there and have a good time at the bar. Of course, go out there and enjoy yourselves. But just be wary. I've seen many safaris come off second best because, the liquor behind the bars a lot nicer. Anyway, camp activities. This is very, very important. Understand your guys' camp activities. Find out beforehand. Do they do, for instance, here in the Eastern Cape, we've got Adder Elephant Park drives that we do. We do a lot of those other sort of things. There's skydiving, there's bungee jumping, there's all these other activities that we can arrange. And then second last is game drives and photos. And why I put this second last is because I think it's a very, very important point, because I've seen a lot of guys come out here and they don't really, it's difficult for me. I can purely understand, because when I for instance, when I had my first Vegas experience, to come back and share that experience with my family and friends was so difficult, because what I experienced is so difficult to put on pen and paper. But once you've got photos and stuff to back it up, you can talk about it a lot more. So that's what I love doing, is that, when clients say, they don't feel like hunting today, well, then let's go on a game drive. Let's go and take photos. If you want to take a photo of a acacia tree, take a photo of a acacia tree, so that you get to share those experiences. You guys need to understand that before those trophies get back to you, it's going to take a good 6, 7, 8 months before your trophies arrive back home. So the only evidence or only piece of material that you guys have to talk about is your photos. So go out there, spend some time, go on the game drives, go and take wonderful photos of the animals that you see. Go take wonderful photos of the things that you have experienced. Anthills, caves, waterfalls, dams, warthog holes. I've seen people, really get creative on this side of things. And it's inspired me to really enjoy the small things and absorb the smaller things in life. I had a client that came out, and I often said to him, I said, being so busy is kind of hindered my career in some point, because I keep forgetting about the smaller things in life. And Sharon was her name. She stopped me halfway through. I can't remember what we were hunting. Could have been an impala or something like that. And we were just driving to the hunting spots, and she stopped me. She said, whoa, 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 whoa. And she pointed up to the tree, and she said to me, you saw that, right? And I said, yeah, that's a hoopoe. And she said, that's a small thing that you need to appreciate, because I've never seen one in my life before. And it was at that moment that I clicked and realized that I need to go back to my basics. I need to go back to what I've been taught by the older generation, and game drives was one of them. And we stopped, we took wonderful photos of the bird, and we proceeded on. And then the very last day of the safari, we had the opportunity to drive around, and I never, ever, ever saw one hoopoe. So, take those opportunities that you get, because that adds to the experience. And I forever am grateful for clients such as that, or individuals, friends, that can point out the significant meaning in what I do as a job to me. And it's making the smaller things count, and that's important. That's very, very important for me, and because ultimately it adds to the whole experience. So yeah. And then last but not least is camp gratitude. Guys, by all means, I don't really enjoy discussing this topic. I will do another podcast on it, and I think it's a very important topic, is tips. If you guys feel like you've had a wonderful time, gratitude is always greatly appreciated. From lodge staff to trackers to PHs to everyone involved, whether it be guys that have shuttled you to the safari camp, whatever it may be, gratitude tips are always, always welcomed, especially with the rand-dollar exchange rate at the moment. But again, it's not a must. It's not a must. You guys do not have to. If you haven't had a great time, please do not leave a tip. And I mean this, guys, because ultimately that is our 5-star rating to our service that we have given based on the tips we receive. So if we get good tips, we understand that that's a 5-star rating, especially in the professional hunting world. And as well as a couple of lodges use the same sort of formula. So guys, Don't be shy to leave a tip. Don't be shy to not leave a tip. Just understand that I speak on behalf of the whole hunting fraternity here in South Africa, that it is always greatly appreciated. Well, guys, that brings an end to my tips for your next safari adventure, especially if you're a first-timer. Mark, I hope this helped you out and answered a couple of your questions. It's been an absolute pleasure. Like I said, this might not work for everybody. It certainly worked for me, and I've seen it work for so many other guys. I love doing what I do, and I've seen so many successful safaris based on these sort of basic principles that have been implemented beforehand and implemented during the safari. So yeah, guys, like mentioned before, unfortunately, I haven't got my video camera up. The reason for that is it's much easier. My Wi-Fi signal has been terrible out here, and I know I'm not just crying and moaning about the situation. I'm trying to make the most of it. Our Wi-Fi situation is not the best, so uploading audio, video, or audio is a lot easier and quicker. So this podcast will be released this evening or tomorrow morning, South African time. So those of you that are going to watch this on YouTube, you'll see there'll be just a couple of safari videos and stuff like that. But I really appreciate all the support. It's been an absolute pleasure to share my journey with you guys, and I love this sort of thing. So if you guys have got any more questions, there's been so many, I haven't gone through them all. Thank you so much. If you guys haven't yet, I would really appreciate it if you head along to my YouTube channel. It's The PH Journals. And watch a couple of my episodes. We've worked really, really hard on the voiceovers and the hunting experience to try and depict or try and do our safari adventures any justice. Once again, a big shout out to Tando Safaris for setting me up on my last safari adventure where we hunted. We went after Lechwe, but unfortunately it just wasn't my day. Nothing came together. But I got a really, really nice Impala ram. So that will be up on the next YouTube channel. I'm looking forward to that one. Big shout out to Nyala Republic for the filming and content creating on that one. And yeah, guys, hopefully I get to do this next Sunday. A lot of preparation coming up. And yeah, we'll see you guys soon. So from myself and the whole PH Journals team, if you are, happy hunting. Until then, stay safe, stay blessed, stay humble. We'll catch up with you guys soon. Cheers.
The Journal is brought to you by Treason. Don't just blend, become. Splitting Image Taxidermy. Worth remembering. Maxxis Tires. Covering PHs over any terrain. Magnum Archery. Scullies. The little things are what makes life wonderful. Venandi Blends. Changing the game. FFS Outdoor. Versatile gear for any situation. PH Toolbox, helping you make your own adventure.